honored to have exclusively for Nile TV International that exclusive interview with His Excellency Ambassador Yoon Sung-gu, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Egypt. Excellency, thank you so much for joining us on Nile TV International in that exclusive interview.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me in this great program.
And it's the first time on Nile TV International after Your Excellency presented your credentials to His Excellency President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and starting off strategic relations binding the two countries, Egypt and Korea. We have laid a very much solid foundation and opened a new chapter in relations, especially after President Sisi's latest visit to Seoul. So tell us more about strategic relations, where do we stand today, and definitely the sky is the limit.
Yes, both countries had a great success, had made a great success to establish new chapters of relationships. Particularly last year, His Excellency President al-Sisi paid an official visit to Korea. It opened new chapters on the relationship between both countries. And our relationship with Egypt has a variety of dimensions, from the strategic relationship on the economic operations and people-to-people exchange. And we have a quite strong confidence to maintain this kind of a strategically important relationship.
It is really strategic, and we're working together on more than one dimension. We're seeing eye to eye politically vis-a-vis the security and the stability of the region at large. So starting off with the strategic relations on the political level.
Yes, we managed to establish so-called comprehensive cooperative relationships. In addition to high level of exchange of personnel, we compare the notes on the strategic interpretations on the regional security environment, including Middle East and Korea. Also, we became the partners on the many international issues, including how to respond to North Korea's nuclear threat recently, and also on the United Nations, etc.
Yeah. Enhancing bilateral cooperation in the business sphere as well is considered to be very important, especially with the potential that Egypt offers. And how about the potential that Egypt offers being marketed to Korean investors to come and invest in Egypt, and the Korean contribution also to the mega development projects in the country?
On the economic side, I'd like to attach great importance on trade, investment, and also Korean private companies' participation to infrastructures here in Egypt. On trade level, our bilateral trade volume amounts to around 2 to 3 billion per year. Hopefully, it will solidly increase in the future. On the investment levels, a couple of Korean companies, including and other textile companies, they intend to increase their business activities here in Egypt. And also on the development cooperation levels, so far we have provided around 63 million US dollars to Egypt as a package of development aid. We would like to increase our participation, our involvement in this effort.
Definitely. Education is also considered to be a very important sphere of cooperation, and definitely Egypt is also very much interested in the expertise of Korea in more than one field, like vocational training and more.
Yes. So far, we have provided valuable training opportunities to 1,300 Egyptian trainees. And hopefully that we would like to increase this number. And also, we have a concrete plan to establish a vocal training center here in Egypt. Totally, Korean government will fund this great project. Through this, the effort, our cooperations in this training and education field will be increased more. I think.
And on the cultural level, there are distinctive ties between Egypt and Korea. Egyptians are very much interested in the Korean beat, the Korean stories. We've attended more than one interesting event, like the Hanbok story here on the banks of the River Nile and more, that brings both people together and enhances further the cultural ties. Are we going to see more of such lovely events, and what more in the cultural sphere?
Yes, sure. Within a week since I arrived here, I had a valuable chance to participate in the special event, which is called the Korea Lovers Nights. I was encouraged to see many Egyptian, young generation people gathered together to sing a long Korean song, and also we have very solid programs, particularly with a special focus on the spread of our pop culture and other, the cultural heritage of Korea to Egyptian peoples. Korea's cultural center will play a certain roles to promote cultural ties between two countries. It's quite encouraging also to point out that these days the people exchange has been drastically increased. Now, annually 5,000 Egyptians are visiting Korea to find a job or just for a tourist purpose and something. That will be a solid foundation to broaden our ties in the field of culture also.
Definitely, and cultural brings us to other dimensions like tourism, cultural tourism as well. As you know, Excellency, Egypt in itself is an open-air museum to the whole world. So this sense of exposure and the potential that Egypt is offering also to Koreans. How about tourism? How are we going to increase the percentage of the Korean tourists arriving here in Egypt? What sort of touristic packages are we working on, and also vice versa, Egyptians exploring Korea, as Your Excellency has just mentioned?
Yes, I have high regard for Egypt, which has great cultural traditions and ancient civilizations. Many people are pretty much interested in Egypt as tourist destinations. Recently, in comparison with the number at the peak, the number has decreased, basically because of some security concerns, to be honest with you. But once the situation will be improved, hopefully that Korea.
But the security situation improved, and
that's gradually improved.
Yeah.
Gradually improved, and I'm going to encourage more Koreans to visit, to these great countries. Hopefully, we will need. I think that we need the concerted effort to bring more Koreans, to Egypt.
Yeah.
Egypt and Korea.
Definitely. Are there concerted efforts, since we're talking also security-wise, between both countries, seeing vis-à-vis eye-to-eye concerning combating terrorism?
I think that Korea has, played a certain roles to combat, the extreme terrorisms. We did, our fair shares. We joined the international effort to combat terrorism. Sponsored some international event, or we donated, certain amount of monies to combat international terrorism. Also, Egypt has been placed under some terrorist attack for a while. I think that on many fronts, for example, exchange of information, exchange of intelligence, or some joint effort to combat terrorism. Through all these efforts, we will cooperate further in this area also.
Definitely. Cooperation extends not only culturally and on the field of education and politically seeing eye to eye, but also in the field of energy and in the field of transport and technology. We are very much interested in Korean technology.
Yes. I had a chance to speak with the Egyptian friends. I stressed the importance of our experience. Korea and Koreans are ready to share our valuable experience, with Egyptian friends. So far, several Korean companies are participating in capacity building effort of Egypt in these infra areas. For example, GS now is building its largest petrochemical plant in Egypt, which will provide around 60% of total consumption of total consumption of diesels, which will be consumed in Egypt. And also some other companies, for example, Doosan Heavy Industries, it is involved in the building thermal power plant. Through all these, effort of Korean private companies, hopefully our business ties and also Korean companies' participation to building infrastructure here in Egypt will be drastically increased.
Definitely. If we're talking about future prospects of cooperation, Excellency, and on your agenda there are different topics for further discussion and potential in different dimensions that we need to concentrate on in the coming stage. How did you prioritize your agenda concerning those dimensions of cooperation?
I will step up my effort to promote peoples-to-people ties, because peoples-to-people tie will serve as a solid ground to increase our bilateral ties all in all. And also Egypt are expecting some contribution from the Korean side to the take off once again economically. So I'm going to encourage many Korean companies to participate in this market of opportunities.
Yes, great. And how about the media field? There are protocols with ERTU, the Egyptian Radio and Television Union, and the Centers of Exchange. How about the dramas, the Korean dramas that we would love to see on our screen? How about a sense of communication back vis-a-vis media relations?
Yes, media relations is also very important areas. My understanding is that in the past, Korean pop music and some films has been in the airs in Egyptian TV channels. So I will do my utmost effort to promote these corporations in this field. So more media men will come to Egypt to see and what's happening in these great countries and try to find out the common ground and to promote further cooperations in this field also.
Right. And since we're talking people-to-people relations, where that always reminds us of a sense of bond that binds people all together around the world, which is art and music and utilizing the soft power that really binds nations. So are we going to witness more of exchanges with Egypt's Cairo Opera House or the different music orchestra? Are we going to see more of top-notch musicians from Korea coming to Egypt and performing?
Well, this is the areas where we should develop. Actually, to be honest with you, we are at the infant stage in this field. So, of course, as an ambassador, I'd like to see more Korean musicians and Korean performers will come and feel the real the nature of Egyptian art performance.
Being in Cairo not for long, but definitely, Excellency, you've got just the beat and the spirit of a country that lives up to the night and that is very dynamic, with the friendly people, with their smile on their faces while greeting you. How is this going to be like a bridge extended to our Korean brothers to come to Egypt and enjoy the hospitality that Egypt offers?
Since I arrived here, I found myself to feel at home. Particularly, I think that I was well received, and I really appreciate the generosity and the hospitality and kindness of Egyptians. The innocent nature of Egyptian people's face is, I think, is a symbol of Egypt. So I'm going to encourage more Koreans to feel the the real nature of Egyptian faith, and also this is home of a great ancient civilizations. So, I think that all in all, the relationship in the future will be much, the brighter.
Encouraging more the Egyptians on the other side to explore the beauty of Korea. What would you tell them today?
Well, Korea, I stressed many times to the Egyptian friends. Korea in the past did, lag behind Egypt in terms of economic development, in terms of GDP and the level of industrializations. In the 1960s, Egypt was, much well off than the Korea was. But Korea came here from the ashes of Korean War. Now Korea ranked number 10 around in terms of economic indicator, but will be, and we have been ready to share our experience, our learning experience, our development experience with other friends in the world. Egypt is will be a good friend, and also I think that both Egypt and Korea will be a good cooperation partners because we share a lot of commonalities, and also our structure, industry structure, is mutually reinforcing, and mutually beneficial. So I think that we have a lot of potentials, to be more cooperations in many fields, to be a good friends in many fields.
Right, we have lots of potential that binds us together, and from what Your Excellency is saying concerning the Korean booming experience in development and in business, what would be the secrets of success of the Korean experience from your point of view?
I think that Koreans have a tendency to invest a lot of their resources to children's educations. Education has been considered as #1 factors to see the so-called Han River in our developmental histories. Now in modern Korea, more than 80% of young generations go to college. I think that in terms of higher education fever, Korea ranked #1 in the world. And also, we have very solid, the technological levels in the industrial sector. And I think that all in all, a democratic leadership, with a special focus on the modernizing effort, as well as the investment in the education. These are two key factors in our developmental process.
Right. Well, a final question, Excellency, concerning prioritizing your agenda and a message that you would like to deliver today, maybe to fellow men in Korea from Egypt as ambassador. What would you tell them?
Well, I think that Egypt is a land of opportunities. Opportunities wide open. So Egypt now is reaching out its hand to Korean friends. So, with a broad perspective, with the perspective of broad horizons, as an ambassador, I'd like to encourage my Korean friends, to be interested in great land of opportunities. Window of opportunity is wide open now.
Windows of opportunity is wide open. We're really optimistic, and we've laid the foundation together. So forward ever. Both nations, Egypt and Korea. Excellency Ambassador Yoon Sung-gu, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Egypt, thank you so much for joining us here for the first exclusive interview as you came to Egypt as Ambassador of Korea. Thank you very much for this honor, and we wish you the best of success in your mission in Egypt. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, and thank you for inviting me in these great programs. It's good opportunities to meet with you and the audience of Egyptian Nile TV channels.
Thank you so much, Excellency.
Thank you.